What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? This is a little bit different. I'm doing an afternoon coffee with a tattooed historian because you drink coffee all day long, right? I mean, at least I do. And I figured there's going to be more people awake, hit up a couple different time zones, and just hang out with everybody in the chat. I hope everyone's having a fantastic week so far. It's been kind of busy for me, and I'm really excited for some stuff that's going to be happening soon. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of watching, or excuse me, listening to the podcast, watching all the shorts that I've been putting up on YouTube. What else have I been doing? Some reels, all kinds of stuff. Thank you to everyone who's been involved in that. It's all part of knowledge mobilization and getting that out there and trying to grow the brand in different places. So really happy with the progress with that and concerning that. So thank you to everyone who has gone over to my YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Obviously, it's free. I placed a link in the Facebook and YouTube chats for you to click on, and that will take you right over to the subscription page for free, and slap that sub button. I greatly appreciate it. It's also good to have a good cup of coffee and just hang out with all of you in chat. I've had a series of meetings about a couple different things, involving e-history, as we call it, knowledge mobilization, historians who work on social media, people who want to start doing stuff on social media. It's never too late to start a YouTube channel or an Instagram or anything like that. And I've had a couple people who have asked for one-on-one meetings for that. I'm probably going to do that on my Patreon as well. Try to get something going there where people who want to invest some of their time into that, we can do some one-on-one meetings or a general meeting with members, and we'll see where that goes. But podcast is doing really well. Thank you to everyone who has listened to it. I have some good numbers from Apple and Spotify on that, so I think you're really enjoying the change in format. Maybe you have to let me know in the chat if you've been enjoying that. It's really important for me to get you involved in the feedback process because, without you all giving me feedback, I don't know where we stand as far as what you like, what you don't like, what you're looking forward to, etc. I'm also going to be doing another top 3 event very soon. We'll be announcing that as soon as I get confirmation from the person who asked to do it, and we'll go from there. So top 3 will be coming up probably in the next month. Definitely the next month we'll do a top 3. Probably do another historians off the clock as well. That might come sooner rather than later. I'm also going to try doing over there on my YouTube channel, I'm going to try doing some gaming streams from time to time, maybe like one a month, and we'll look at a historically based game and I'll put it underneath the gaming playlist. And we'll see how all that goes. But I've been really impressed with the YouTube channel as far as the growth has been good, but the YouTube Shorts feed has been fantastic. And I've been getting 3-4x the amounts of people watching compared to long form videos. So I'm taking that into consideration in the future. People are just flipping through the feed, and it's really interesting to me. And I've been watching the graphs and charts and trying to figure out what's going on there. Speaking with some of my colleagues who do this kind of stuff, and they're seeing the same thing. So it's been pretty hot over there on YouTube lately. So if you're not there and you're part of a museum, or if you're doing history on your own or anything like that, you might want to consider heading on over there and starting something, because there's a lot there to gobble up. There's a lot on the table. It's a buffet over there of history. But again, I hope everyone's having a great week. We got a long weekend coming up, right? We got Labor Day weekend coming up. And then I got to go back to work. It's back to the grind. We got a new term starting, and I am teaching I'm leading discussions in 4 seminars this term. So I've done 2 in the past per term. Now this term I'm doing 4. I'm doubling up. Really, really looking forward to that. Um, it's going to be a good time. We're going to do stuff on new media. We're going to do stuff on interactions with new media. So it's all good. Really looking forward to it. Good afternoon, Kojak. How are you? Where's the cat with the beautiful eyes? She is asleep right now in the other room. She got her treat and now she's asleep. She got what she wanted and now she's taking a nap. So that's usually how it is. She uses me for treats and then she goes away. So appreciate you being here, Kojak. Thank you for being over on my YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate that. Some of you on Facebook have also seen that I started the Tattooed Historian's Trunk once again. For those of you who don't know, 5 years ago and further back, I was buying and selling vintage and vintage militaria, and it was a great time. It allowed me to keep this brand going, um, especially during the early days of the pandemic. It really helped to keep the brand going. I decided to bring that back simply because I could use the extra funds for the work that I'm doing here on social media. And I need something to do, like something different to do on the weekends with the Jaunty Crow. And we're going to be setting up at vintage and military shows and buying and selling and having a good time with that. So I started the Tattooed Historians Trunk on Facebook just to give you updates on it. We'll probably go live from different events as well from time to time. Some videos of some stuff that we will be selling, picking up, things like that. It'll be a good time. You know, when you're involved in history and you have, an accounting degree and you've done a business thing, it's kind of nice to bring that all together and form something, out of that. John D. Crow's in the chat and on YouTube. Nice chocolate chip camo. Thank you. It's the air vent was right next to me and it's been cold in this room. It's chilly. So I decided to put the chocolate chip on, and I'll probably wear this at the next show. September 15th is the Burlington, Ontario show, and I'll probably be wearing this or something else. So yes, the cat is relaxed. She's had her treats. We got the business back up and running as far as the vintage stuff is concerned. So everything's nice and quiet here at the house. They had just finished working on the roof. And to those of you who had tuned in to the amazing event we had with Civil War Seattle for the Tahoma Cemetery internment, I had guys on the roof right above me who were tarring and papering the roof and putting down new tiles and stuff like that for the winter up there. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And there was so much, noise coming from up there. It was shaking the apartment. And so I had to make sure that my mic stopped the background noise. But at the same time, there were moments where I could not talk with you because even with that filter on, I knew that sound was going to come through. So yeah, it was a crazy time here when I had 2 of the most important live streams I've had all summer, in my opinion, probably in all of 2024 so far, because of what we were talking about and what we were doing. And now I have all this background noise, above me, and I can hear people like walking on the roof in these heavy boots, because their construction are going to be having steel toe boots, heavy boots. They have the torches up there, and they are just, making sure this roof lasts through the winter. And I was so worried about the sound that when we were doing the internment ceremony live stream, I was going to have some extra descriptions of soldier service and things like that as they were bringing them up in the urns. But it really would have been drowned out by the sound that was going on behind me. And luckily, bookending that part of the live stream, there were some silent moments around here where I could come on and say, "Hey, thanks for watching," and make sure you go follow Civil War Seattle, et cetera, et cetera. So luckily I could do that. But wow, the rest of it though, it was literally this room was shaking because they were bringing up big stacks of things on pallets, and they were moving around, and sometimes they were rolling things up there, and it was just crazy. Um, so yeah, it was nuts. But I'm glad that it didn't come through for anyone too much. I didn't get any feedback from that as far as, hey, there was some noise in the background, what was going on. So it was all good. So I'm really happy that it came off without a hitch. Um, I did get a copyright strike on YouTube. It doesn't affect like me posting or anything. But I did get a copyright strike or a warning on YouTube. And I was like, how did I get a copyright strike for this? What's going on? What's been copyrighted? Here I received a strike from YouTube because Taps was on the video. And apparently Taps is copyrighted. And I had no idea that Taps was copyrighted. And little did I care. I'm not worried about it. That needs to be in there. Um, but I was like, really? Taps is copyrighted? I had no idea that this thing was copyrighted. So yeah, I don't know if Dan Butterfield is still alive to handle that copyright or what's going on here. But somebody owns it because YouTube told me you got a copyright strike. So wild. It's so weird. The things that can stay on there and the things that come down or the things that get a copyright strike, it just amazing. That's why if you're watching over on my Facebook channel, I couldn't live stream on here for a year and a half almost because I put a promo from the Macho Man Randy Savage from the 1980s and it was flagged for violence. And I'm like, okay, it was a fun promo he did. And that gets flagged, but I see all this other stuff it doesn't. It's crazy. You never know. You're basically gambling when you're putting stuff on here. What's going to happen, what's going to get flagged, and what's not. So who knows? But thank you to everyone who did join us for that event. We had a lot of good. I've got to look it up. We had a lot of good numbers on there with that. I have to look on my YouTube studio real quick. But we had some great feedback from you. Thank you for that. We had an awesome time promoting that and being a part of it. We are across some of the other platforms. We are right around 600 views and climbing. So that's good. I mean, I had to crop some things on the end, trim some things off because we had that long intro period, and I kind of trimmed that off so that when you get to the actual event, it's not just not just stream starting soon or something like that. So that's good. Rob, how are you, my friend? Just did a little dive into Taps. Yeah, is that's still copyrighted? I don't understand. Now I'm getting footsteps above me again. I'm going to I have reduced background noise, so it's okay. They're still working out there, by the way, from time to time. And yeah, I gotta keep an eye on that. So yeah, retention rate showed on the video that it dropped significantly after the first minute. And that was due to the fact of that was the part that says stream starting soon. And so you got to clip that off to allow people to see that. Yeah, should escape copyright law due to age, but US laws may be different than in Canada. I don't know. It's crazy. Really weird. But, it'll be fine. We'll work on it. We'll see what happens. At least it wasn't like a bad strike where all of a sudden now the video is ripped down or I can't post for a certain length of time. They're just like, if you want to dispute this, email us and do that. And I'm like, I'm not, it didn't take the video down. I'm not going to dispute it. That'd be dumb for me to give myself more work to do. I'm not going to do that. So you'll be able to go see it and enjoy it. Kojak, lyrics of Taps are copyrighted. Huh. Well, they weren't the lyrics. It was just a bugle. So I don't know. Maybe it just caught it and it's like, oh, all of Taps now is copyrighted. But it makes me wonder Have I ever watched another video from another creator that has taps in it? Maybe uh, walking around a cemetery, and all the videos I've watched on the Second World War and the First World War and stuff like that, even the Civil War. And I don't remember hearing one on there. So, Richard, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you in chat. We're just talking about the live stream we did on the second day, the internment ceremony. Um, I got a copyright strike for that because Taps was in it, and we're discussing this idea of copyright and Taps. It's crazy. Uh, yeah, this is part of it. Every week, it seems like, Rob. Very interesting how these innocuous details trip you up. This is part of content creation that people don't realize. They think, oh, you just get in front of a camera and you just, film and you put it up, and that's it. There's all these other things that are involved behind the scenes. You got to make sure something's not copyrighted, or something is, not AI driven, or things like that. So it's just amazing to me, but yeah, I wondered why I had a strike on my account on YouTube, and that was it. And they had sent me a nice email and a nice message, just gently saying, "Hey, you might want to look at this. This is why you have this strike, and don't do it again." So yeah, very interesting. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Stephanie Seal Walters. Stephanie's going to have me drop into her class digitally later this term coming up. I'm going to be talking with them about building an online brand, because that's part of their assignment, is to consider ways of building brand online. And I'm going to be stopping in to discuss that, social media, live streaming, stuff like that. So really excited about that. Talking about new media, talking about social media, talking about e-history. And she asked me if I knew a good podcaster to connect her to, who can also do some good stuff and be very personable and authentic. And so I sent an email to my friend Craig Baird, who does Canada History X. That's EHX. And I asked him if he'd be interested in, joining up and doing that on a different week. And apparently that's going to come to fruition. So I'm very happy about that. So Stephanie's going to be enjoying that. You may remember Steph from some of our previous lives that we've done. We've done a top three together. We might have done two top three. Yeah, we have done two top threes together, and an interview and all kinds of good stuff. We were together for the University of Southern Mississippi Civil War and Reconstruction Project. So it's good to be reunited with her. I actually went to talk to her class at George Mason University a few years ago. That was like, how long ago was that? 6 years ago, maybe. And yeah, that was a fun time. Talk to them about, doing a brand as far as history is concerned, doing podcasting, things like that. So that was a fun time, and I'm looking forward to talking with students at USM and all kinds of stuff. There's some other stuff going on behind the scenes I can't release yet because the contract hasn't come through. It's not a done deal yet, but there are a couple of our projects that are coming down the road that I have been asked to be a part of. So stay tuned for that. Maybe by the next Coffee with the Tattooed Historian, I'll have a solid yay or nay on that. What else is going on? I can't believe it's almost September already. It's nuts. I had so many things planned for 2024 that didn't come to fruition because I just ran out of time. We're going to be doing some other stuff here in the future. I'm looking forward to switching things up a little bit in 2025 in a positive way, meaning I'm going to add a different element to this if I can. I need to raise some funds from my YouTube and other places, my Patreon as well, to create some good stuff with that. But there's some things in the works that I really want to do. And I think 2025 will be the best time to do that. I don't know why I'm out of focus. This webcam sometimes doesn't like me. Is it the chocolate chips? Is the camo throwing it off? Am I like camouflage? There we go. There we go. So yeah, there's a couple other things that are happening on that front that I need to take care of. We have a Patreon up and running now. I went back to Patreon after a year and a half, 2 years away from it because they had some security issues and some negative stuff going on there, and they fixed it. And I'm really happy to be back on there because we can do some separate stuff, separate things on there. I may actually do some live streams on there for certain people who want to discuss how to do history online, kind of like a workshop kind of thing. I've been considering that. There are chats there that are private chats as well, where you can text with all of us who are on there, including myself. And I have a content creators chat and I have a general chat on there. So if you're doing content creation and you have some random question about, YouTube or threads or something like that, you can always just go onto that and text me and let me know. So it's a good way to do outreach and to make sure that people are able to create what they want to create. And I'm a great enabler, and I will always be like, go for it when you say you have an idea. And that's one way for me to do it. So my Patreon is now up and running, and I appreciate those who have gone over there and become patrons on my Patreon. And all that is going to go right back into creating good stuff on here, because the software, isn't free. And I've been paying for it out of pocket, and I'll continue to. We'll see how everything goes into 2025. But again, thank you to everyone who has hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It is free to do so. Thank you to everyone who has followed on Facebook. I've been think of this, everybody. In less than a month, like 2.5 weeks, I will have been on Facebook as the Tattooed Historian for 9 years. Nuts. Absolutely crazy that I've been on here 9 years on Facebook. YouTube, I've been on a little while longer, I believe, simply as a person who was watching YouTube. Like I had an account, but I didn't really post until much, much later. This whole brand started on Facebook, and because that was the hot thing in 2015. And, that was where I figured it was a great place to start. So I believe I'd have to look. I think I have it on my phone. The actual date that I started the Tattooed Historian. Yeah, September 16th. It's a Monday this year. September 16th is 9 years since I started the Tattooed Historian. And I remember starting it and telling people, this is not a sprint. This is going to be a marathon. And I may take my time in doing things to make sure it's right, or it's just not the right time to do something, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to be here. And we have to think about some of the brands that have been around that have done history or the humanities in those 9 years that were there maybe for the pandemic year or 2 years or whatever the case may be during lockdown, and then they're gone and they're back to the way they were before. How many museums were really hardcore into live streaming while we were in lockdown, and then poof, they're gone. They're like not even around. They're back to brick and mortar, and that's it. That's all they focus on, and maybe a post on Instagram or whatever. So I'm happy that my ideas around being a marathon and not a sprint have come to fruition and stayed alive, and will progress. I knew that this was a long-term project. I didn't say, hey, I'm going to do this and then get a TV show and then kiss this goodbye. That's not what I wanted in the first place. I wanted to run everything myself, and just be me. This was the 20, 30-year project. So I'm getting to thinking about it when I thought, wow, this could be a 20-year project. In 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I'm halfway to the almost halfway to the 20-year line, which is nuts to think about. 9 years of content creation. Um, Absolutely crazy to think about. It seems like yesterday I started this from the cubicle, and now we're going 9 years. I don't know what we'll do for the 10th. We got to have some kind of a celebration for the 10th, like a get together. Something's got to go down. So who knows? We'll have to figure that out. Got to do something special for the 10-year though. But I thank each and every one of you for being here, because without you, I wouldn't make it to 9 years. You're the reason why I'm able to do this. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of this. And I hope that you're getting some value out of it. And I want to increase the number of posts. I've been really considering more YouTube shorts. I've been really happy with them. And, doing those 30-second things has been really cool to do because it's easy, it's quick. You get to the point, you move on to the next thing. And I'm really happy about that. Kojak says I need to go for coffee and donuts. Yeah. I need to do like a stream from the donut shop or something. Go to Tim's and do a stream there for my 10-year or something. That would be fantastic. But yeah, next year, 2025 is 10 years of the Tattoo Historian brand. So we'll see. Also on the YouTube channel, if you're over there hanging out, thank you to everyone who's watching over there on YouTube. I greatly appreciate you. There are 12 of you watching now. I see that we have 13, so we only have one Facebook person right now who's here. Thank you to everyone on YouTube. I appreciate you so much. Please pass on the YouTube channel to anyone who you think would enjoy it. We got plenty more to come on here. I've got literally lists of stuff that I have to really get set up, and I have emails sent out to people to do interviews and to hang out. So YouTube's going to be growing here. And if you're on Facebook, hop over to YouTube and get on that. That would be something you need to try out. David, welcome in. Thank you for being on YouTube. Greatly appreciate that. Eclectic and enjoyable. Thank you. Have you personally interviewed any veterans of any conflict? I have interviewed veterans of the contemporary conflicts, David. I've had several who were historians or authors themselves, or talked about their experiences in different ways, but mainly from the Iraq or Afghanistan wars. I haven't had anyone on from the Second World War that I know of, or Vietnam or Korea. I'd have to look back, 9 years. I should remember all this stuff. But I've talked with people and done oral history chats with people, but not on a live stream or anything like that. So that might be something that's different that we can come up with. I'm actually considering a project in the future for people who have worked at a historical site. I'm thinking about talking with them and maybe their interactions as well with veterans. So that's definitely something that I can put on the list, and the list keeps growing, and I appreciate that. Anthony, welcome in. YouTube Shorts, love them. Yeah, YouTube Shorts are awesome. I try to keep them under 30 seconds because, we just flip on by these things now. But literally, I put one up today. Okay, I put one up today, and in 2 hours, it's had 267 views. If I put a video up, a long form video, it'll get 267, 265 views, but it's going to take a day, 3 days, 5 days. Sometimes it depends on what it is, right? And the shorts just go. And there's untapped potential there. If you are into content creation for the humanities, go try out some of these shorts. There's something going on there, and I actually enjoy it. And I get a lot of new subscribers from shorts. Remember, subs are free on YouTube, so just hitting the subscribe button doesn't cost you anything. And so people are watching the shorts, and then they subscribe. So I've really been able to build it off of that in greater quantities or a greater ratio, I should say, than long form video. Also love book reviews. Bought books based on your reviews. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I wondered how that was coming across to everyone because it's a little bit different. I know Keith Harris also does this as well. I started doing book reviews several years ago, and then it kind of declined. And I wanted to bring it back because I love a book review that's under 5 minutes. And I'm glad that you're getting enjoyment out of that. It means a lot to me. Thank you for that as well. We also have the memberships on YouTube as well. If you hit the join button, you don't want to do Patreon, you can do YouTube. That's an easier way to do that. I don't like to ask you to do that stuff, but I have to because it's a business and that money goes right back into the business. So thank you everyone for that. Just try to make it easy for everyone. Our Korean war vets are becoming very scarce. They are. They really are. And my grandfather was a Korean war vet. And so they're up in their 90s now? Let's see, what we got 50, 70. Yeah, they're in their 90s now, basically. And, we talk about our Second World War veterans. We have to remember Korean War is not that far behind them. And like David says, they're becoming very, very scarce. I remember when we would see buildings full, like convention centers full of World War II veterans that you could go talk to, or hangars at an air show. You can go talk to them, and now no more. That's pretty much done. You might be lucky if you see 2 or 3 at an event. Korean War's the next one, and then then we got to talk about Vietnam. So, it goes from there. So it's nuts. But I greatly appreciate everyone joining me so far today. It means a lot. Thank you so much for being on the YouTube channel, for being on Facebook. I love, this is the reason I love doing YouTube, is that it's accessible. You can send a YouTube video to anyone and they can watch it. If they try to go on to Twitch or they go on to Facebook or something like that, they have to have an account to really interact with someone. Here on YouTube, it's nicer for people like me who wanted the accessibility, and I really appreciate that. So I've spent a lot of time here thinking about YouTube content and new ways to interact with you. So please consider passing this on to friends and letting me know in the chat what you like, and I'll keep expanding on that. Michelle, nice to see you here. When I worked at Panera, we had a regular that was in the military during the Korean War period, in service. Yeah, remember we used to see them all the time, and it's getting more and more scarce. I picked this. We talked about this earlier, real quick. I picked up this chocolate chip from the Gulf War, a recent pick where I was trying to build my militaria and vintage business up that I can do on the weekends. And someone asked me, how is that becoming collectible, really, that era? And I said, yeah. And I said, when you think about it, we're talking 30 years ago, 33 years ago. I think about what I was collecting in the 90s. I was collecting Vietnam War stuff, and it had only been 30 years before. It seems like it goes in this 30-year cycle where we get far enough removed from the event where it's like, okay, we can start to collect this stuff now, or we can have this stuff around. It goes from being general surplus to being something else. And it seems like it comes in 30-year increments a lot. We get like a generation removed, and then it's like, okay, now this is something different. And I'd love to kind of look into that a little bit more. When does that come from? We know vintage, when something is labeled vintage, it's 20 years old. So I'm double vintage. So I have to think about, when does something really become collectible from the military standpoint? Is it the same type of vintage, or is it something else? And it seems like, to me, it's like a 30-year kind of spread between event and collectible. However, I am seeing things from the Iraq War become collectible, which is kind of weird. But again, there's no generational gap. So as someone who's like a historian slash into sociology and into collecting and stuff like that, it's really interesting to think of when does that begin to be accepted, quote unquote, by society. Like, okay, it's okay to sell this stuff now, you know. Um, Something that I've been thinking about for a little while, and you know, we won't even get into discussion of ghost tours because that's a whole different thing with me, and I'm not going to get upset on this stream right now. So, you know, I'm not a fan on battlefields or in where battles occurred because we don't have a ghost tour in Fallujah, do we? There's a reason we don't do that. So I have thoughts which I'll keep to myself. Um, but it's really interesting to me, and I'm going to be watching people, shop for this stuff at these shows, and I'm going to ask them, why are you buying this? Like, what's the reason? Did you have a relative who served during that time? Did you see a movie or a documentary, and now you want to have a piece of the history? Why this artifact? I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to do, and I'm looking forward to setting up at the shows because I can have stuff there from this brand. I can have the QR codes people can scan in and see some of the things that I have put online. I'm going to make it really interactive. It's not just going to be a table where you come up to and purchase stuff. It's going to be a table you can come up to and experience something. So I have some ideas about doing that, kind of taking the public history slash museum field and putting it into the economic field in a way, and marrying those two together and seeing how people react to it. But we're starting out as small shows, and then we'll see what happens. If I can get enough overhead and enough stuff, we might do some bigger shows. But the smaller shows are going to be like my guinea pig, and I'm going to see what happens at them. And if we can put something down on the table that is about, some aspect of the Vietnam War, like a uniform or something like that. And then I can also link you to a video that we did on a portion of the Vietnam War, etc. That's kind of cool. So, that's the direction of my thought right now. And we'll see how it goes. Just branching this out and making this something different while also raising money for the brand and for future stuff, because I do have big plans ahead for it. And I think these shows will help to fund this endeavor. That's what kept the Tattoo Historian brand going in the late 2010s, if you will. In the 20 teens, I was doing contractual work, and then I was also buying and selling, and that kept us going when there were no sponsors around. So now that I have a podcast sponsor now, and that's my one sponsor. The rest of it will be through either Patreon or someone joining on here on YouTube, or through the military and vintage shows. And we'll just keep this operating until the big break happens, whatever that is. I have no idea what that is. Like I said, I didn't start this to get a TV show. I didn't start this to, whatever. That's not why I did it. And I'm still feel that way. I've spent a lot of time on sets of, documentaries and films and stuff like that. I like being behind the camera instead of in front of it, because in front of it, your day's going to last like 14 hours sometimes. And that's not fun to me. What's fun is we get to come on here and chat for an hour. Then we get to go and do a battlefield tour live stream for 2 hours. And that's our day. And the rest of the day, we hang out at a coffee shop or something. That's my kind of production. And I've had students previously who are like, do you need an intern to come out there and help you out? And I've had people volunteer to help me out with camera work and stuff in the past, all because I don't make it this kind of grueling day long thing. So, I'm pretty easygoing with it. So we'll see what happens though. Throughout the latter part of this year, I'm already starting to plan for early 2025 because I have to, because it's going to happen. And we'll see which direction it goes. More coffee with the tattooed historian, more top 3 events, more historians off the clock, but some new stuff as well because I got to keep things fresh. And I have those ideas. I just have to talk to some people who know more than I do about certain things going on out there outside of these walls and see if we can make it work in various ways. But I have my brainstorming ideas and thoughts, and I'm always the kind of person who's like, let's try it. If it flops, it flops. If it does well, it does well. I don't take offense to that. You can't be doing this if you take offense to bad numbers, whatever that may be, lower numbers. If people don't view it, it's because they don't like it, and you move on to the next thing. I've seen many creators and even like museums or nonprofits, they come on and they do something 2 times, it doesn't get the numbers they want, and they forget about it. They don't understand the grind. They don't understand uh, the process. They see the goal, they don't understand the process. I've had 9 years of process and I'm still going. I don't know what the goal is. I've never known what the goal was. I just wanted to create and enjoy and move this forward in some way. Forward being defined as we're trying something new or we're trying something different in the coming months or in the next calendar year. It's consistently progressing. It's not just a Zoom live stream thing. We've done that. Let's do something else. Don't want to look like anybody else, even though we're not comparing ourselves to anyone else. That's the thing. I just wanted to be me, be authentic, and enjoy the process. Because as I said, I don't know what's at the end of this. And that's the amazing part for me is I just love having no plan for the goal. So Baron, what is up? How are you? Had a chance to catch up on some podcast episodes. I enjoy the new format and appreciate your work. Thank you, Baron. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I'm glad you like the new format. I kind of got a little bit tired of the 40-minute interview, and I wanted to break things up. And so I'm really happy that you like the new format. For those of you who haven't listened to the podcast in a while, I broke up the format into segments. So now you're going to get history in the news. Then you're going to get the interview. Then we do like this little gamification of our interview where I do like overrated, underrated, or word association, etc. And then we do shout outs to e-historians, people who are creating online who are also doing history work. And that's it. So you have these segments that come out to about 35 minutes on average, and you're done. And I wanted to know from everyone how you liked it. And I've gotten some positive feedback on it. Baron, thank you for yours as well. It does mean a lot. And I'll keep it up. And I enjoy it more in this format. So I'm hoping that you enjoy it more. As the creator, you have to enjoy the creation. Because if you don't, your audience is going to know you don't enjoy it or you're not fired up about it. I like the segmentation of my podcast now because I don't want it to be what I did 10 years ago I started podcasting 7 years ago. So I didn't want it to be like it sounded on the first episode. I wanted it to be something different. So yeah. Anthony, I have a great museum recommendation for you. Check out the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor Museum in New Windsor, New York. It's excellent. One of the first 3 Purple Hearts is on display there. Wow. That sounds amazing. I will definitely look into that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that recommendation. I greatly appreciate that. I did not have that on my list. I have a Google map with places that I want to go or organizations that I want to collaborate with or museums, etc. And that one was not on there. So I will definitely look that up. Thank you very much for that. That means a lot. We're on the 45-minute mark now, everyone. I appreciate everyone who's been here. If you haven't already slapped that subscribe button on YouTube, please consider doing so. It is totally free for you to do that. We like to see the community grow. We being me. I use we a lot because I feel like it sounds too egotistical when I say I all the time. So I really appreciate everyone though who has gone over there and slapped that subscribe button. It does mean a lot to me. Please pass it on to your friends, colleagues, fellow nerds, if you will. Trying to do some great stuff here and enjoy the ride. I want to get that sense of community going on here in different ways. I think that's why I wanted to do the Patreon, simply because I wanted to get that kind of community feel going. And being a text away from people is really good. You know, where if you're editing something and you have a question about it, or you have you need input on this idea, I like having the Patreon chats, because then it's like you can just text me and I will, be a text away at times. I may not get to it for like an hour or something unless I'm like in a seminar, but I'll get to it. And I really enjoy that. So thank you for everyone who's gone over there and done that. Also, thank you to everyone who has followed or liked the Facebook page. That means a lot. I am telling you, though, that a lot of my stuff is going to be on YouTube. There's going to be a lot of good stuff there. The shorts are popping right now, and I want to keep that going. So you're going to get new stuff there. I also do a lot with Instagram Reels. So those kinds of quick content creative ventures are really interesting to me, and I want to keep that going. So please look out for all that stuff on IG or on YouTube. I'd say those are my biggest two right now. And I'm obviously on other places. I mean, obviously, some of you are watching me on Facebook. I'm, on Threads, which I've grown Threads immensely in the last few weeks. We have over 3,000 people on my Threads account just hanging out there, which is amazing. A lot of great historians and students of history on there. But the YouTube channel is what I really want to expand on going into 2025. That's my goal right now. So any way that you could pass that along to someone, I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. We also have the join button there if you wanted to be a part of the community on there. As I said, Twitch for me is pretty much done. And so all that is going to shift over to YouTube. I do have a gaming playlist on YouTube as well. And look for me to do the occasional gaming stream on YouTube, simply because there are historically based things that I like to do in gaming formats. And we can just kick back and talk. So, that's always fun. And I haven't done a gaming stream on there in 3 months. 8 months was the last one. I'm looking at the screen over here since I've done that. So I'm about due just to do a hangout night on there and be a part of the conversation. So please consider that as well. And as I said, it's free to subscribe on YouTube. If anyone is working on any kind of project right now, or you want to shout out a museum, something to that effect, you have a social media presence as a historian or in the humanities, please go ahead and plop that information into the chat right now. Put a link, put the name of what you're doing, something like that. If you have any of that going on, I like to leave the last 10 minutes to the outro of this whole thing, which is you getting the chance to promote your work as well, because a rising tide lifts all boats. I am not in competition with anybody. I like to help everybody get the props they deserve. So the last 10 minutes of the stream here, I would like to give you that opportunity to do that in the chat. And we're going to call it a day after that. And we're going to hang out again very, very soon, because I have people who want to come on to do some historians off the clock and a gaming stream. Actually, I have a really good friend who wants to do a gaming stream with me here on YouTube. I think we're going to do World of Warships. So I know that Kojak will be there to tell me that I'm steering the ship the wrong way. I'm steering it into danger, which I tend to do. We'll also do some. We got to do some Ultimate General again. They just put out a Revolutionary War game, so I need to save up some money and get that one as well, and then we can play that on here for a night. This isn't going to turn into a gaming channel. It's just one facet of what I do, and therefore it goes into a playlist all by itself on my YouTube site. So please keep that in mind. We got plenty of other stuff. We still have our interviews coming up. We still have our top threes, our historians off the clock, all that kind of stuff. So Kojak is reading T.E. Lawrence right now. I have a, what do I have on Lawrence? I have an old book back here from someone who was with Lawrence, I believe. I can't remember all the books I have. Speaking of which, I've been putting a lot of books into the local free libraries or the little free libraries. Consider doing that if you get a book on the cheap, which I know is tough. But if you're getting a book for $1 and you're done with it, consider putting some more history books into those things. Baron, great question. I'm preparing to write a paper on the War of 1812. Do you feel it was a continuation of the Revolution or its own unique war? Who's to blame for it starting? Wow. Okay. I'm gonna take the first question and let you go with the second one and come to your own conclusions because that's really up for debate and there's a lot going on there. So I do feel that it is a continuation of the revolution in some form, and that form is this: the the British Empire is still worried about America wanting to take Upper Canada and Lower Canada as well. So there's still that kind of "we don't trust you" kind of thing going on there. Remember, I think it was it Jefferson who said that taking Canada was only a matter of marching. So there's that kind of distrust going on there. I really like Alan Taylor's viewpoints on the War of 1812. I have his book back here. He actually talks about the War of 1812 as a civil war. And I really enjoy reading that kind of outlook on it because where I'm living now, there's a lot of people who are descended from loyalists from the American Revolution, but there's also a lot of people who married into American families just across the border in New York. The border is very porous at that time, and I really think that we need to look at kind of the background of that familial and economic look at the War of 1812. Remember, you got New England who's thinking about seceding during the War of 1812 from the United States because they don't want to lose that economic value of what's coming from Canada. So there's kind of this, mix of ideas going on at the time. There's distrust in Canada of American intentions in the future. They're seeing westward expansion in some form or fashion. And, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there between families and locals in Western New York, Upper Canada, the Niagara region. Really, I'm living in the hotbed of the War of 1812. This is the most activity on land warfare is seen in this region, and there's good reason for it. This is, basically land that was under a lot of threat from the Americans at the time. And I want you to think of 1812 as kind of a mix of that extension of the revolution, but also a little bit of a civil war going on up there along the border. There's a lot of violence along the border, not just battle violence. I'm talking burning entire towns and stuff like that. So read Alan Taylor's book and get some background on that. And I'll let you come up with your ideas on who's to blame for that. Uh, Robert, it's a great book. It's a fantastic book. I just got, let me see. Let me reach back here and find it. I have, let's see here. So I have, yeah, here's Alan Taylor's book. I have piles of books on the floor. Sorry about that. I hit the mic. The Civil War of 1812, Alan Taylor, fantastic book. You want to read this. Even if you're not into that period of history, I really think you need to read it to understand the relationship between America and Canada. And it is fascinating. Really, really fascinating. This is one that I got from my library because I wanted to understand a little bit more about the military situation on the border and such. This is Christopher Dishman's Warfare and Logistics along the U.S. Canadian border during the War of 1812. I love logistics. Military logistics is my thing. So this one is great. Christopher Dishman is their name. Is his name. Warfare and Logistics. You want to read this. You want to read this. So these are my two go-tos, Baron. If you're still hanging out in here, there you go, buddy. Warfare and Logistics, War of 1812, a Civil War of 1812. Yeah, there's your book recommendations for this stream, because they're fascinating. And you know, I'm 20-minute drive or so from the Niagara River, and I can look right across, and there's Fort Niagara, an imposing structure, and you can tell why people were nervous. You know, so yeah, it's really fascinating. Really fascinating. There we go. Yeah, it was Jefferson. Don't forget, Upper Canada was populated by a number of Americans who had fled north. That's right. Yep. Yeah, a lot of loyalists. So you have the loyalists, then you had the late loyalists, right? And I'm a latte loyalist. I'm just a little dad joke there. They are seen by upper Canadians as potential subversives and spies. Yeah, there's that. Rob knows. Rob does 1812 stuff. Reach out to Rob as well, Baron. Get in touch with him. He does 1812 reenacting. Great dude. We just had dinner the other night. He can probably give you a list of books as well to look up, secondary sources. There's so much going on there. It is amazing. Dr. Taylor's book is superb. Elements of U.S. history that I never knew or understood. I mean, he gets into like religious backgrounds of those who are coming here. You know, he gets into the ideas of the Anglican Church. He gets into the ideas of Scots-Irish and things like that. And that tension that's going on, it's down to the detail on that. And I really appreciate that cultural look at it. It's really good. You got Taylor's book. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's awesome. Anybody else working on anything? We got a couple more minutes here. Great to see everyone here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and for hanging out with everyone in chat. Once again, I want to give a shout out to Civil War Seattle for running that amazing event last week. I was so honored that he allowed me to live stream from it. It was his phone that set up the live stream. He was the one who really took care of us, and major shout out to him. If you're not following him online, please do so. Richard's doing amazing work, and really happy with all of his success. Anthony, have you been to Fort Ticonderoga? I visited a few years ago and it was fantastic. That is one place I haven't been yet. I need to go to Fort Ty. I have never been there. I definitely want to go. I would love to do a fort tour where it's like we start in start in a certain place and we just go down along the coast or down through, the upper New York area through Plattsburgh and all that stuff, and just start hitting forts and looking at the architecture and looking at the time frame that these were made and just have a good time. We gotta get Steve Fan along for that. He and I have talked about that tour for a while now. that we really need to do just some fort tours, and not just tours of, the inside of the fort, but actually go to different ones in a stream of different eras and watch how they changed and how did they interact with the local environments, and why were they built here, etc. It's fascinating. I'm really interested in that kind of stuff. That's when I really nerd out. But I think that's because I remember being a kid and going to Fort Sumter and Fort Moultrie. Fort Moultrie was the first real fort I ever visited. It was on a vacation to Charleston, South Carolina, and we visited Moultrie first, and I was just overwhelmed as a little kid, and I've been into forts ever since. So, got to bring that kid in me out and go check out a couple of our forts. But anyway, as I said, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate that. It is free to do so. Slap that subscribe button. Let your friends and peers know about this channel. There's a lot more to come on here. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you for that. I have a top 3 event in the works right now, probably a Historians Off the Clock, and a gaming night event coming up as well. Digital gaming, not tabletop gaming. Digital gaming night coming up that will be under the gaming playlist. So there are different things going to be happening, whether you're into the gaming component of historically based gaming, whether you're into interviews, top 3 lists, just general chats. There will be something going on here on the YouTube channel. It's kind of like a free-for-all with that, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Fort Tour, start in Kansas City and go west. Well, I haven't been west in a while. It's been a few years since I've been to St. Louis, so I don't know. Michelle put in here reading Eric Larson's new book, The Demon of Unrest. I read it, and I just put it in a little free library in my area. So someone's going to be happy because that's like a $40 book in Canada. Someone's going to be really happy to see that. Also, there's a little thing I do with the little free libraries that you can also do if you want to plug your own project or highlight a museum you like or something like that. Put a bookmark or a sticker, something like that, into the book when you put it in. When people find books that I put into the little free library, they get a Tattooed Historian sticker, and I also put the Tattooed Historian, courtesy of the Tattooed Historian. I write it inside the inside cover, and that promotes it, right? So, give a book, free marketing, everybody wins, and I'm all about that life. So, someone gets a sticker out of it, and I have some stickers to give away. I'll probably take some to the military show in September and put them out on the table, and then people can take them because I need to offload some and get new ones because I have a new design for them. But anyway, thank you to everyone who has joined me on this Coffee with the Tattooed Historian. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you are continuing to read some great books out there. I'm going to have some more book reviews coming up on YouTube, a lot more shorts. So pay attention to your shorts feed. I just promoted another Netflix documentary series on my shorts feed. So please check that out. As I said, please consider subscribing on YouTube because, it's free and you'll get notified as soon as a video comes up or a live event happens. Pass it on to your friends. Word of mouth is how I've marketed this brand for almost 9 years. And, it's been a great time, and we'll do something special around the 16th of September on my actual 9-year anniversary of starting the brand. We'll do something fun, and we'll figure that out as time goes on. The Wyatt Earp documentary. I did a short on the Wyatt Earp documentary. You need to watch the Wyatt Earp documentary, especially if you're a fan of Tombstone. Watch Tombstone and then watch the documentary. You're going to be surprised at a lot of things. Remember, history and Hollywood only have one thing in common. They both begin with the same letter. It's a good introduction It's a good thing to spark your curiosity, but go to the source then and figure out what's real and what's not. This documentary about Wyatt Earp that is now on Netflix, Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy Wars, is fantastic, and you're gonna want to check it out. I watched all 6 episodes back to back to back because I couldn't stop watching it. There are little material culture things. It's like, they wouldn't have worn that or something like that. But look past that and listen to the history, watch the story. Whoever wrote it, as far as like writing the scenes and writing the sequence of events and things like that, did a very, very good job. And I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was fantastic. Please go check that one out. And today I gave you another Netflix series to go check out if you want to understand what's happening in Eastern Europe a little bit better. And it talks about those dominoes falling since the Cold War. And you should go check that one out as well. So, everybody, please have a great day today. Thank you again, everyone following on YouTube or Facebook. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Keep drinking coffee, everybody. I'll chat with you soon.